guys, and welcome to the first ever One versus One Me premiere. Exciting times. So with Boris Johnson now putting the United Kingdom on lockdown, we thought we'd do a little breakdown because there's a lot of fear-mongering and scaring and crazy shit that's happening right now. I feel like the majority of the population is just panicking. There's panic buying everywhere. The shelves are completely empty. People are just ravenous lunatics right now. And I personally don't think we need to panic as much as we are panicking. So let's take a look at all the different countries. So here you can see I have worked all of this out myself. You can go and check this on, I'll put the links in the description, but worldmeters.info/coronavirus is where I've got all the coronavirus stats. That is updated daily at 12 a.m. I'll break this down for you. On the left, column A, you can see the countries. Then column B is the populations. Then column C is the total number of cases. So that is everybody who has ever been infected that's been recorded. Then we've got the percentage of the population who has been infected across the board. Then you've got the deaths. Then we've got the percentage deaths. And then active number of cases that are currently infected. Which means we can see the drastic change when we look at the percentage of those who are infected right now and compare it to the population that have had it, especially when we look at China, which I'll do in a minute. China's been infected for quite some time now. The majority of those who have been infected have now been cured or got better. I don't want to use the word cured, to be perfectly honest, because there isn't a cure. It's a stronger common cold, you know. It's killing people that are old and weaker than the masses in the same way that the flu and the common cold would, you know. So at the bottom we've got the global numbers as well. We'll go on to that at the end. After I've broken down everything, I'll talk to you about the global. So let's look at China. Here you can see China has 1.4 billion people. That's a lot of people. And a total of 81,218 cases. But when you look at the percentage, that's only 0.005. That's not a big number. 0.005 is not a big number. It isn't. And then 3,281 people have unfortunately died, and that is a shame. And I will say as a little disclaimer here, I don't want to sound like I'm coming across as a bitch or heartless or anything like that. You know, I'm very, very sorry that people have lost their lives. I really am. But unfortunately, people lose their lives every single day. And a lot of the time, there isn't a lot of things that we can do about it. It's just life. It's just how it is. It's a big shame that this virus is spreading across the world. But unfortunately, it's spreading much the same that flu normally would. And the media is just creating this massive, great big scaremongering things, which is panicking people. And that's scary because people should not be being as panicked as they are. Yes, take precautions. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be taking precautions. Yes, wash your hands. Obviously, we're not two. We know that we should be washing our hands when we come in from going shopping. Obviously, don't cough in somebody's face if you've got the virus. Yes, be a good person and stay at home. You know, if people were being good people at the very beginning of this, I don't think we'd have this problem now. I think if people didn't be like, oh, fuck it, I'm still going to go to work even though I'm spewing my guts up, we wouldn't have this problem. But we don't abide by natural law, and thus we don't give a fuck about our fellow men and women. The deaths in China, 3,281, which is 4%. Now, 4% mortality rate is still very, very low. It's not a high mortality rate at all. And I'm really sorry to say that. And I know it's 4% of people. People are like, those are still humans. And yes, they are still human people. They are. And again, I am sorry that they've died. But 4% is not a high enough mortality rate to be making mass hysteria. It just isn't. Let's move on. So the active number of cases currently is only 4,287. That is only 0.0002% of China's population right now that is infected. That's good. You know, that's gone down really well, you know. Let's skip over to Italy, because China is no longer the epicenter. And what that means is that the major infectious zone, if you will, is now in Europe, and specifically Italy and France. We'll come to France in a little bit. I know I've zoomed in a bit on France there, but you'll forgive me. My finger slipped. Heard that before. No, serious talk now. I'm sorry. I don't want to get hated for me having a sense of humour. Calm down. So, Italy has a population of 60 million. Currently, there are 69,176 infected, which is considerably higher in proportion than China. It's 0.11. which is considerably larger percentage-wise than China, but it's still not even 1%. You know, it's not even 0.9, it's 0.1. It's still a very, very small number of people who are infected, and the majority of whom are going to recover and be fine. The total number of deaths has been 6,820. That is 9.8%, considerably larger than last week, which was 7.6. So I can see how it is increasing, but I still don't think it's increasing to justify the mass panic. And, you know, I'm going to come more onto this in a little bit, but the amount of hate people are getting just for going outside for a walk, for a little bit of fresh air, is insane. In terms of those who are infected right now, 6,000 people have recovered. So 54,030 people are infected right now, which is 0.08. Last week we were at 0.005. Let's have a look at UK and France, because we can see France a little bit better here. So the United Kingdom has 67 million people living in it, with only 8,077 infected. That is 0.01. Again, not a very high infected rate. We're at 422 deaths, which is 5.22% mortality. It was 4% last week, so it has gone up by 0.2%. But usually during flu season, you can expect to have a few people die. Then in the height of flu season, more people die. And people will just keep dying during flu season until everybody is cured. That is how it works. So when people are like, oh, the numbers are rising, well, of course the numbers are going to rise. Like that to me is common sense, you know? And that happens with anybody, any kind of infectious disease or any kind of disease, you know. People don't die from diabetes straight away. You know, the diabetes has to take hold. Same with cancer and all other kind of things that kill you, they have to take hold. So, of course, those numbers are going to rise, but eventually those numbers will decline and things will look brighter again for people, you know. So in terms of the active numbers, they haven't really changed all too much. We still have 7,520 people infected, and we are at 0.001% still. So let's have a look at France. Well, 65 million people, there's 22,304 people infected, 0.03% of the population. Now, France has a slightly lower mortality rate. They've got 1,100 dead, but that is 4.93 mortality. Their active number of cases, they've actually almost 5,000. So their current active number is 0.02. 17,923 people are currently suffering from coronavirus. So the United States, they have 331 million people. So they currently have had 54,963 people infected, which is 0.01% of their population. It's not a large population of people infected at all. But the interesting number here is 1.42%. That's their mortality rate, and that is considerably lower than Italy, France, and the United Kingdom. Now, last week we were questioning, why are these numbers lower? I was like, why does America have a lower mortality rate to England? I don't think that should be the question. The question shouldn't be why is that lower. The question should be why is Italy, France and the United Kingdom higher? Now, I think there's lots of different things we can think about here. I mean, does the United Kingdom, Italy and France all have different social interactions? You know, you meet somebody, you shake their hand. In England, you know, I have shook many people's hands. You know, you go into a business meeting, hello, my name is Cakes, I shake their hand, you sit down. In Italy and France, however, I feel like a lot of the time, I might be stereotyping here, and if I am, and if I do offend anybody, that's your fault. But I feel like in Italy and France, when they greet people, do they not grab a hand and then kiss? You know, is that not the way? Do people in the United States greet one another with hugs or handshakes or whatever? And also, is this going to alter the way that we are with people after this is all blown over and it's fine and it's now Ebola, you know, or Zika virus or, you know, swine flu or any of the other things? After it's all blown over, are we going to stop hugging people? Yeah, how are our social interactions going to change? I digress. Why is our mortality rate, England's mortality rate, much higher than the States? And it goes deeper than that because there's other places with much lower mortalities, which I'll come on to in a minute. But there has to be a reason. Is it because there are less old people in America and there's, you know, there's less people high risk? You know, you think America, you think unhealthy, you don't think healthy. But, you know, you think United States and you think diabetes and heart disease. You know, you don't think picture of health. But then you think of an Italian and you do think healthy. Like, I think healthy when I picture France, Italy, Europe. I think healthy. Like, but then again, I also think fine wines and cheese and things that are going to clog your arteries and, you know, cause heart disease. So, I don't know. I mean, we discovered last week that Italy has 5% more people over the age of 65 than England. So it could be the age. So let's have a look at Spain, which to me looks, in terms of mortality rate, is very, very similar to how Italy was last week. And Spain has very similar percentages to Italy right now. So they've got 46 million people and 47,610 people infected in total, which is 0.1. So that is the same as Italy. Italy has 0.1% of the population has ever been infected. But Spain's mortality rate is much lower for the number infected. So what's Spain doing differently? Spain is also at 0.08% infected right now. There's 38,809 people who are currently infected, which means around 7,000 people have already recovered, which is good. This is one that really, really shocked me because you think Pakistan, you think close quarters, you think that that diseases are going to spread very, very quickly. So Pakistan has 220 million people, but only 1,000 infected. And you'd think, because of the dense populations of the areas in which people in Pakistan inhabit, you look at Pakistan, especially in the poorer parts of Pakistan, and they're all packed in together and living in this like dirty community area because they don't have access to those things because their government don't care about them. So there's only 1,000 cases, which baffles me. Is it because it's a warmer climate? Possibly. But it's only 0.0004%. And they have only had 8 deaths in the 1,000 infected, which is 0.8. That is our first that we've covered below 1%. Only around 20 people have recovered, so that kind of number is irrelevant. I don't... The thing is as well, is it's very difficult to get the actual dates of when the first infection was found. Like the first outbreak isn't readily available. It's just not... You guys try and Google it for yourself, but there isn't a table of where people were first infected. I will be trying to make this for next week, because I'm going to try and update this next Wednesday again, and I'll post again a similar style video. Probably it'd be a little quicker. It will be a side-by-side comparison of this week to last week. So it could very well be that Pakistan's outbreak happened 2 weeks ago, you know, and that 1,000 is in 2 weeks. But it also could transcribe that the outbreak was 2 months ago. This picture I thought was interesting because, and again, we could have the same situation with what I'm thinking with Pakistan, is that maybe the outbreak was just a couple weeks ago and that's why there's been no deaths. But there's been no deaths recorded here. Only in South Africa, but in South Africa you've had 4 people recovered already. The reason I wanted to pull up this slide was because it's funny. It's not South Africa, the other 3, Tanzania, Myanmar and Kenya, are funny because there's not many people infected. Again, this could be that the outbreak was just last week. But if we look at Somalia, and I haven't done Somalia this week because I spoke about Somalia last week, but if you look at Somalia only has, and still only has, 1 active case, and that person has neither died nor recovered, nor are they in serious condition. Has Somalia just been good enough to manage to contain that 1 person and just trap them in a room with a couple of little air holes? You know? Is Kenya doing the same thing? Because although Kenya's population isn't that big, 53 million, that is fairly large, but only 0.00004% of the population. And then Myanmar, 54 million. 3 people infected. 0.00005. That's crazy. These numbers are tiny. And again, I don't know if we can get a real accurate kind of what's going on, because I can't find the outbreak dates. But next week we'll be able to compare, and we'll be able to see, okay, so have more people got infected? Is this spreading like wildfire in these areas? And why is it, or why isn't it? You know, I think once we build up a couple of weeks and I've got this written down and saved as a video, and hopefully YouTube don't take it down because statistics, you know, hopefully then we'll be able to gauge whether it's what the fuck is going on, you know? Why is everybody crazy? Why is it just our subscribers that aren't crazy? Like, every time I go onto Facebook and I search my local residents group, and people aren't being normal. People are being absolutely batshit fucking crazy. And people are shouting at one another because there's kids playing in the park, you know? People are just being lunatics. But then our subs, you guys are normal. You guys are like, yeah, I agree. Like, these people are fucking insane. How come me and Dee have just managed to find the only sane people in the gosh darn country? How are y'all, by the way? So, let's have a look at some countries where you'd expect it to spread a lot quicker than it is, and where mortality rates are so varying in this one little thing, number 5 to 12. We've already looked at Pakistan, but we've got Indonesia with 273 million, but still only 0.0002% of the population ever being infected. But they have a higher mortality rate. Why does Indonesia have a higher mortality rate? 7.34%. Why is it higher? And why is Russia's lower at 0.1% mortality? Because famine is rife, you'd expect disease to be rife. Bangladesh, they've got 164 million people, but only 39 infected. 5 have died, which is 12%. Now, 12%, well, in fact, it's almost 13%, you know, it is almost 13. I'll you know, won't try and downplay numbers here. I think we could probably attest to the 13% to not necessarily be the severity of coronavirus, but the subpar care in the poorer parts of Bangladesh. Now, it is not fair for me to say that, in the sense because I don't know where these deaths are. It's very difficult to find on a map where all these deaths are. And it's very difficult to see where all the cases are. I mean, it could very well be that the 39 cases, there's like one over there, one all the way over there, one in the middle, you know, or dotted around. Or it could be that there's one big clump. I mean, we can look at the numbers and we can speculate. You know, we can question and kind of guess why the numbers are so, but whether we will actually know why the numbers are this way, I highly doubt we will. So let's finally look at the global side. So globally, we have 7.7 billion, you guys all know that, and as of today, 434,854 cases. Now, you see that number and you think, fuck me, that's quite a lot of people. Fuck me, maybe I shouldn't do this video. Because whilst I was writing down the numbers, I was thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't do this video. Maybe it is as big as people are making out. Well, I wrote the numbers down and then I did the percentages, and I was just like, the percentages are just so small and insignificant. I mean, if you're doing a science experiment and your success rate is 0.005, you're going to give up science and you're going to go and like play with the Barbie's playhouse, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, these numbers are just so small. It may very well be in 4 weeks' time, I'll eat my words, but it was only just after Christmas that we did our first coronavirus video. I think it was like the end of January, beginning of February. It's been a month and a half now, and I still feel pretty much exactly the same as I did a month and a half ago. We've had 19,607 people die globally, which is 4.5% mortality. Last week it was 4%. So it has gone up by 0.5%, which is substantial. But I think the more important number to look at here is more than 120,000 people have recovered. And we can see that because 303,391 are currently infected, which is 0.003% of the global population. That's not too big. I don't think that's something to worry about. I'm going to come on to bubonic plague and other things like that in a minute, and we can compare these things in a minute. But let's just have a look here. So these are all the countries that are currently in lockdown: India, United Kingdom, Australia, Italy, Denmark, Ireland, Spain, Germany, Portugal, Czech Republic, France, Belgium, Norway, Slovenia, Indonesia, El Salvador, New Zealand and Poland. Those are all the countries that are currently in lockdown. Now, I've said this before, and if you've watched our other videos, then you'd understand where I'm coming from when I say this. Could it not just be that the media has blown this so out of proportion that governments are forced to lock down countries? Because if they don't, then they won't be re-elected next term. Oh, you let things over. You didn't lock us down, so we're not voting you next term. Do you know what I mean? Could that not be what's happening right now? Is that they don't have a choice because that's what's going on? I mean, I don't know. So what does lockdown mean? It means that apparently you can only buy essentials only. I mean, the boyfriend's been in the supermarket. There's still beer on the shelf. Is beer an essential? No, it's not. Can I still buy it? Yes, I can. Will they turn me away at the till? No, they won't. A friend of mine posted a picture the other day, and somebody had a shopping trolley with a crate of, I think it was Stella, and a orange tree or a lemon tree. That was in their shopping trolley. That was their essentials. Now, I'm still going to go, like when we go to the shop on Friday, I'm still going to buy whatever I kind of want to buy when I walk around the shop. That's just how I shop. So for some reason, this picture that I found on the internet, and the reason why I posted this one was because it's got Barbers there, and I just thought that was really funny. Like, Barbers, well, obviously your Barbers is closed, Susan. God, calm down. You know, like, there's been loads of people that I've seen on Facebook. Can I go and get a haircut? Can I get any like home hairdresser to come and cut my hair? No, bitch, you can't. Like, it's a lockdown. They will get in trouble. Like, why are you trying to get people in trouble for? Just get the scissors and do it yourself, you lazy bitch. And then there was another one, talking of cafes, because cafes is here as well. There was this woman who, she delivers cupcakes. Now, I think cupcakes are great. They're great for morale. If somebody's having a down day, get a cupcake. Like, come on. Like, I want cupcakes. You guys can probably tell that. But this woman was absolutely hating on this other woman because her business was still open and she was delivering cupcakes to people's porches. Like, yeah, let the people have the cupcakes, god damn it. And then I got two pictures here. One, I thought they were really funny because this one, social distancing. So what is social distancing? Apparently it's 1.5 meters. But if you look at this picture, it's 2 meters. I mean, make your mind up, internet. Okay, so let's take a look at other pandemics and flus and plagues and whatnot. So here we've got bubonic plague, known as the Black Death. Obviously because of when this took place, it is very difficult to get an accurate number, but there obviously can be estimates and guesses. Estimated proportion of the number who were killed is between 30 and 60%. But they've estimated around 100 million people were killed in Europe, which is obviously considerably larger than what's going on right now. Again, I know it's ongoing and I know it's continuing, and I know that we've got modern medicines to prevent things, and you know, we know about social distancing and all the rest of it. Let's have a look at Spanish flu. So Spanish flu was estimated, I don't think this was an estimation, I think this was actually a number that they could accurately pinpoint because, you know, this was between 1918 and 1920. 50 million people died during that time due to Spanish flu, and that shit spread like wildfire. Like, everybody's saying this is spreading like wildfire. I don't think it is, because how many of us actually know of confirmed cases? We don't. And then here I found these really cool pictures, so I thought I'd share them with you guys just so that you can see. So the Antonine plague killed 5 million. The plague of Justina killed 30 to 50 million. The Japanese smallpox epidemic killed 1 million. And now here, Black Death has a different number here. I guess we know it killed a butt ton of people, so this one says 200 million. Then we got smallpox, 56 million. The 17th century Great Plagues, 3 million. The 18th century Great Plagues, 600k. Cholera 6 outbreak, 1 million. The Third Plague, 12 million. That's in 1855 we're up to. Yellow fever, 100 to 150k. And now HIV, from 1981 until now, has killed 25 to 35 million. Asian flu, 1957 to 1958, 1.1 million. Hong Kong flu, 1968 to 1970, 1 million. And now more recent, SARS, 770. That was over the course of a year. And we all went crazy and we were all panicking, and, you know, then we had swine flu from 2009 to 2010. So between 2009 and 2010, swine flu got 200,000 people. And then from 2012 until now, only 850 people have been killed by MERS. And then Ebola, 2014 to 2016, 11,300. And now COVID-19 from 2019 till now, 14.6k. In the grand scheme of things, looking over all of these, I honestly don't think we need to have that many crazy things. Most of these flus, especially when we come to recently, only last a couple of years. So yes, people are going crazy saying, oh, but coronavirus is going to last for at least another year. Yeah, well, sorry, Margaret, but most of them do last a couple years. That's just how it is, unfortunately. And again, I know I say all of this so nonchalantly, and I will copy and paste this link for you as well, so you can have a look for yourself. And again, I know I'm saying this very nonchalantly, but that's because in the grand scheme of things, there is always something else. And I feel like we need to think, what are they distracting us from? I mean, we've mentioned this quite a few times on One Versus One Me and on Jed's show, and I know Validation Boy has mentioned it a few times. The amount of other things that's going on right now that are being forgotten about, and the amount of agendas that this fits into. I mean, we've got the vegan agenda, we've got the environmental agenda, we've got the keeping people away from other people kind of agendas. There's so many different agendas that this fits into and plays into. I mean, I think it was the first week that this really hit the news straight away. Jed's like, it's about trade, it's to stop trade. I don't think that this is a depopulation thing. I think it's going to seriously affect a societal shift. That's what I think we're going to expect. I'm not worried about the plague. Not worried about the flu, the common cold. Not worried about coronavirus at all. What I am worried about is the societal impact that this is going to have on one another. We're already berating people for leaving the house. There's people apparently ripping badges off NHS workers. I hope Jed's missus stays safe, and that she doesn't have to succumb to people's fucking animalistic craziness. Gone are the days where we had self-responsibility. They're not here anymore. Where are they? What's happening? Now it's just, you have to do what your government tells you to do, and it's ludicrous. Yeah. There's many questions, and I'll be happy to talk about them with you guys on Sunday. Feel free to join the panel. We'll pop the link out as soon as me and Dee have done rambling on Sunday night for our weekly normal live stream starting at 9 o'clock. I hope to see you all there. And if you want to bring anything up with me, you've got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll address them either via messaging or in next week's show. I hope you all have a great time, and I will see you all next week. Thank you very much for watching, and have an awesome week. Bye!